The Beehive Sports Podcast is powered by Swing Juice. Visit swingjuice.com and use promo code Beehive20 for 20% off your golf and MLBPA apparel. What's up, everyone? Episode 31. Tonight, I have traded Joe for Andy, my number one hater. Say hello, Andy.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
We got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We're going to cover the midseason NFL and the big NFL trade deadline. So let's roll.
Welcome to the Beehive Sports Podcast. Here are your hosts, Joe and Sketty.
The Buzz is brought to you by Busch Light. Attention hunters, your favorite camo cans are back. Get it wherever you purchase your adult beverages. Please drink responsibly. And Napoli Pizza. That's right. When there's football season on the Tbsp, there's Napoli's. Weekly specials, pickup or delivery available, located in North Warren, and Hillview Signs and Graphics, and Hillview Towing, 814-730-0348. All right, Andy, we're here. Joe's in Myrtle Beach. I think we made an upgrade with the trade to you. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm good, man. I got a nice tall glass of Buffalo Trace over here ready to do this.
Excellent. I'd like to hear that. Get into anything fun this weekend, Halloween weekend, trick-or-treating?
Trick-or-treating with the kiddo, just enjoying this nice, I don't know how the weather is down there, but up here in Erie, man, it's been gorgeous, getting a lot of stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful down here. We did trick-or-treaters up at the new house here. I will say one girl said that, so I don't have curtains up right now, so my ring light is like right in the middle of this window, and the one girl said that her daughter, they drove by the other night, and she goes, "Mom, look, that guy's doing a TikTok in his window." And I said, "That's it. I got no street cred already. I got to go smash some mailboxes, do something, get my edge back," I think.
Yeah, at least you didn't say you were doing like OnlyFans or something, because then I'd be really concerned.
That OnlyFans might be a little more respectable than TikTok. I don't know.
It's a good point.
All right, Andy, let's see. We're going to open up this week with Buzzin' and Buzzkill. What's got you buzzing this week?
What has got me buzzing? It'd be the New York Football Giants. I mean, 6-2. I know we lost to Seattle. I know you and I discussed it's no good for you. Sorry for that. But, I told you I had a sneaking suspicion it was like one of them trap games. But, I mean, 6-2 at this point in the season, heading into the bye week, nobody thought the Giants were going to be here this year. We were, going to be maybe the bottom feeders of the NFC East. And here we are, I guess technically tied for second place. We lose the tiebreaker to the Cowboys, but Brian Daboll's got that team in the right direction. Daniel Jones, looks decent. Saquon is just an absolute animal right now. So yeah, it just actually having a team to cheer for this year is it's different for us Giants fans over the last 8 years or so.
Yeah, definitely something to be excited about. Don't blame me at all. What's got me buzzing this week is, I think the beautiful weather. It's been really nice. Been getting some walks in, getting some stuff done around the house. It's been absolutely gorgeous for this time of the year. You can't beat it. What's killing your buzz this week?
Killing my buzz, honestly, it'd be the Fall Classic, the World Series. And I mean that, because one, the Phillies being up 2-1, as a Giants fan, a Yankees fan, even a Penguins fan, just cheering for Philly sucks. But no, it's more so that means baseball is almost over, and that sucks. I'm a baseball guy. I love the game, and it just means baseball season's wrapping up. It's a great time in the sports world. You got baseball, both NFL, college football, hockey's on. If you care about the NBA, it's there. I mean, we're gonna lose a major sport here soon, and it just means cold weather, the snow's gonna fly. It just sucks.
Only gets worse from here. I agree. What's killing my buzz is Joe Bees. He's away in Myrtle Beach, so I wasted a day planning the show, doing the writing for the show. Just wish I was golfing and, or getting stuff done around the house. As you can see, we still do not have a door on. That was today's goal, but writing kind of got in the way of that. So typical Joe, just ruining me.
Maybe he's, I don't know about you. I've golfed in Myrtle Beach, and maybe he's just spending all his time in the sand trap. That's all we can hope for. He's having a miserable round, maybe.
He did send me a picture of a gator, which means he was awful close to the water, probably in the water, knowing him, but we'll see. All right, we're going to get into local shout-outs. This week, Eisenhower defeated Girard 13-7 to go 10-0 on the season. I don't know if that means anything to you, but no. They are the one seed in the region. On the bye this week, they get the winner of Cambridge Springs and Mercer, which potentially is looking up to set up a D10 championship game showdown with Reynolds, who is, I think, ranked 4th in the state. I think Eisenhower is 6th in the state. So hopefully it gets to that point. We get to see a good football game there. Warren football, they lost 37-16 to General McLean, just missing out on the playoffs. Warren cross country had 3 runners advance to the state meet. Sam Lindell was 3rd in District 10. And then for the girls, Cheyenne Rulander and Morgan Alexander both advanced to states. Cheyenne was 10th and Morgan was 14th at the District 10 meet. So not a bad showing for the cross country team there.
That's awesome. I don't know how anybody can run cross country though. Who enjoys running that far? I don't.
I remember our cross country team when I was in school. They were good, but they got T-shirts made that our sport is your sport's punishment. And I was like, yeah, you guys are fucking nuts.
Right. Yeah. When I had to run playing sports because I did something wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not out there doing it for fun. That is for sure.
Good grief.
Warren volleyball are in the D10 semifinals tomorrow night against Meadville. They had a hot streak earlier this year. Hopefully they get on and continue to keep winning. And then one last one, the Kinzu U10 soccer undefeated season with a 6-0 win over Clarion this past Sunday. So nice. Good for them. Andy, I'm going to let you take a little bit of a lead on this next topic. World Series. Joe's Astros down 2-1, game 4 tonight. Who you got?
The way Philly teed off last night, it was like, I know Joe, I think posted, it was like batting practice for the Phillies last night. Yeah. I did not get a chance to look at who's on the mound for either team tonight, but at home in Philly, the way they're coming off that game last night, I mean, my opinion right now, Philly could go up 3-1 tonight. I don't want to see it. I understand the Astros beat the Yankees. It makes me bitter, but I'd rather the end of the season come around and I can say, well, at least we lost to the world champs.
Yeah. That always softens the blow some.
Houston's a solid team. They've been there, 4 out of the last 6 years through the ALCS. I mean, I can't cheer for Philly. So I hope Houston wins tonight, but man, their bats are hot. Their bats are hot right now.
As someone, I don't care a lot about baseball, but if Joe's team loses, it just makes me happy because I don't like listening to him gloat about them winning. So, I'm all in on Philly tonight.
No, I agree. I actually, Joe will probably kill me for saying this, but I actually enjoy watching the Bills lose. I'll come out and say it. As a Giants fan, my number one hated team is the Cowboys. I think.
Oh, yeah.
And probably my second or third most hated team in my life is the Buffalo Bills. And I live in Bills country. I've lived in Bills country my entire life. I can't take them.
No, so, I can relate with the Steelers for us down here. So many Steelers fans makes it insufferable unless you're a Steelers fan. Then
I secretly enjoy when the Bills lose.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear that. That's it. All I got for opening. So I think, are you ready to play reality or overreaction?
I'm ready to go.
All right. I'm not going to do the music because I don't know which song he uses, and I'm not trying to be the tech guy. I am not the tech guy. I'm the least tech guy ever.
Nobody's here for the music.
So we're going to start you off with a hot one. Reality or overreaction? After a hot start, the Giants will miss the playoffs.
Oh, jeez, man. Why you got to start there?
I got lots of Giants stuff for you to start tonight.
I'm gonna say overreaction. the Eagles are the front runner. I said it many shows ago. I'm pretty sure you and Joe thought I was on drugs. I had predicted a Chargers-Eagles Super Bowl. Chargers, maybe not, but
Half of it's
Eagles are
looking good.
half of it's looking good. The Cowboys, I don't know. The Cowboys are the Cowboys. We talk about the Cowboys every year, and they just never win. I mean, they're always good in the regular season, and they can't win. So, I mean, you could see in the NFC East, you could see 3 teams. I mean, depending on the wild cards, the NFC's junk. I think we both know that. So,
Yes.
I think it's an overreaction at this point. The Giants are going to go into the bye week and get some healthy. Got a couple players banged up on our O line. We'll get them healthy, and I think we actually have like the 6th or 7th easiest strength of schedule remaining for this year. So that's going to help.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. The Giants just haven't looked like world beaters. I think when we were texting it about it a little bit, we had said, they're just not pounding anyone. They're just finding ways to win. I believe they're the 6th seed right now if the playoffs started tomorrow, which,
Correct.
I think they have like a 2-game lead on the 8th seed. I think they're going to be all right. I think they're going to get in. I like what Daboll's done there. Like you said, Barkley's been a beast. I think the bye week kind of gets some guys healthy again. I think they're going to be all right. I think Seattle's a tough place to play, man. I watch my team go up there once a year, and it's tough.
Yeah, and I mean, Seattle, at the beginning of the season was going to be one of the bottom feeders in the entire NFL, and they're just finding, they're almost like the Giants. They're finding a way to win. I mean, who would have thought Geno Smith's going to lead them to 5-3 now, whatever they are? I mean, no one saw it coming, and yeah, playing in that stadium is just it's a nightmare, no matter who you are.
They've already won like 4 times as many games as I thought they were going to win all season. I think I had them at like 1 win, maybe 2. They're looking a little bit tougher than what people expected. All right, next one, reality or overreaction. I left this in there for Bees because he had to bring this up last week. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are back.
Overreaction. I mean, they got pounded by the Browns. I mean, Joe Burrow has nobody without Jamar Chase. It got proven this week. I mean, Chase is down for 3-4 weeks at least. I have him on my fantasy team, which just sucks.
Yep.
Without him, they're nobody. The Browns aren't that good this year either. And
yeah,
the beatdown that they took Monday night from Cleveland just makes this an overreaction. The Bengals they're just not the team everybody thinks they are, and it's being proven. I don't know. Joe's just wrong in this aspect.
I totally agree with you. I think I was kind of on it a little bit last week. They were trending the right way. And then they go play Myles Garrett, and just that line looked atrocious. And poor Joe Burrow, he's going to get hurt back there.
Yeah, he's going to have a short career he's going to be like Joe Theismann was. Just something's going to happen to him. He's going to be done. They did nothing in the offseason to shore up that line. I mean, yeah, Garrett made him. Garrett's a freak of nature. He's kind of a beast there, but he made him look like a JV football team out there.
Yeah, it was a pretty pathetic effort. I mean, Jamar Chase not being there probably hurts that. You're not getting the ball out as quick, but yeah, that something's got to change, or they're not going to be competing in the playoffs.
No.
All right, next one. I also left this from last week. Reality or overreaction? The 49ers overspent for CMC.
After his performance Sunday, I'm going to say overreaction. I mean, that dude just tore it up. He had 3 touchdowns, 1 running, 1 passing, and did he have the receiving? I think on the other.
He had receiving. It was almost
like
time,
like a triple double in basketball for that dude this weekend. And so, no, my opinion that's an overreaction. I think the 49ers saw the void that they had. Sure, they're giving away draft picks, but maybe Kyle Shanahan's system's going to work for him. It all comes down to, as obviously and the rest of the world knows, can the dude stay healthy? When he is on the field, he is an absolute stud, and he proved that. So he stays healthy, it's a complete overreaction. The 49ers are going to look, like they knew what they were doing the whole time by picking him up and giving up what they gave up.
Yeah, it's really, really softening the blow for me to see him do that. It's the first time since 2005 that someone's ran, thrown, and caught a touchdown pass. LaDainian Tomlinson, I believe, is who it was. Really softens the blow. I still think long-term, this was not a great move, but if he can do this in the short term, you never know. The way football is this year, they could get in, Chiefs, Bills slip up someplace. The Niners could win a Super Bowl this year. The rest of the team's ready. And that's about the only way you can make that move pay off in my eyes to get in there and win a Super Bowl.
You got to win it all. And the NFC's weak. We know that. There's 2 NFC teams. It's, there is no real big front runner in the NFC like there is in the AFC. I mean, it's Bills Chiefs. They're just going to fight it out.
Yep. I agree. All right. Next one. The Browns will contend for an AFC North title.
Overreaction. I mean, yeah, they beat up on the Bengals. They had a good night, but I mean, that whole division is kind of garbage. I mean, with the exception of the Ravens leading it, but they've blown how many leads this year? I mean, they blew it to the Giants. They were up, double-digit lead on the Giants, came back and won. They blew it versus the Dolphins. I mean, the whole division is garbage. But I think ultimately the Ravens come out on top in that division. Steelers are done. They could face Tomlin's probably going to face his first losing season since he was a coach for the Steelers, because he's on like year 14 or whatever it is of being above 500. So no, overreaction on the Browns. Jacoby Brissett's not the answer. I know Deshaun Watson's coming back at some point, but I agree with what Joe said in the past. The dude hasn't played football in close to 2 years. Like, he's not going to go out there and just tear it up. No, not going to happen. I think it's the Ravens division, maybe the Bengals, if they can get it together, have a potential to fight the Ravens for the top. But I mean, I think the Browns have dug themselves too deep of a hole at this point.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you on that. I think the problem is, I think their next 3, they have, this is not going to be the right order, I don't believe, but it was the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Bucks in their next 3 games, and then Watson's back. You got to go 2-1 in those games. I think that would get you to 5-6. And then if you hope that Deshaun Watson is as good as he was when he quit playing football 2 years ago, you could maybe win enough games to sneak in and win that division. But like you said, I think they're just dug themselves too deep of a hole. Losing to the Jets really killed them. This is what they need to do, is be right around 500. And I really think, it's also possible they go 0-3 in these next 3 games. 2-1 is going to be a tall task. I think 1-2 they'd be pretty happy with.
Yeah, and I don't understand the Browns this year. I mean, you got Nick Chubb. The dude is an absolute beast. And you got Kareem Hunt. I work with a diehard Browns fan, and we talk about Nick Chubb all the time. And he threw a stat out to me. I was talking to him this morning. I said, give me a fun Cleveland Browns stat in case it's funny. Any question about them comes up. If Nick Chubb carries the ball more than 16 times a game, the Browns win like 90% of the time. All of the games that they've lost, he's carried the ball like 13 times. They're like, why not just give the dude the ball? Let him carry it 25 times. Let him carry it 25. Give Hunt 20 carries. Like, you have one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL with those 2 dudes in the backfield, and you kind of throw the ball with Jacoby Brissett to Amari Cooper. Like, come on now, feed him the ball. And their head coach, Stefanski, he's got to go.
Stefanski, don't like him. Yeah.
I'm
with you. I got a bunch of buddies who are Browns fans, and they say the same thing. Like, why are we handing anyone the ball? Why are we throwing the ball? Like, just give it to Nick Chubb and get out of the way. And that's what they should do. And Stefanski he's saving them for the playoffs that they're going to make in 4 years, I guess. He wants to keep them fresh.
Right. Their defense is pretty solid. I mean, Garrett and Clowney's still there. It makes no sense.
It doesn't. I agree with you. Reality or overreaction? The defending chumps will miss the playoffs. Oh, look, I must have. Nope, I was talking about the Rams. I meant to put chumps.
Well, that's an absolute reality. They're trash. I agree with you on this. Like, the Rams are nobody right now. I don't even know how to describe them. Just flat out reality. I got nothing to say about them. They are not making the playoffs whatsoever.
It's a mess.
Yes.
I mean, I love to see it, but it's a mess there. no run game to speak of. They only throw it to Cooper. I mean, Allen Robinson had like a few shining moments this year. That they are just an absolute mess. I don't know what happened. And I guess maybe this is what happened when you just sell everything and go for broke to try and win a Super Bowl. Yeah, you got your ring, but they're not going to be good anytime soon. It doesn't appear. No, I love to see it. But man, how the mighty have fallen. That's almost embarrassing.
Yeah, they really should be embarrassed. I mean, both of the Super Bowl teams are probably not making the Bengals might sneak into the playoffs, but
I'd be interested. I wish I would have looked that up. I don't know if we've ever had a season where both Super Bowl teams don't make the playoffs. Usually one falls off, but not both.
Where's Stat Guy Darren? We need Stat Guy Darren.
We need Stat Guy Darren. I don't know where he's at. We need him. All right. Reality or not that one yet. There we go. Reality or overreaction. Dolphins are trouble for the AFC.
Reality. We'll get to it in the three-bagger. I mean, I'm taking the Dolphins in the three-bagger pick tonight, and I think this reality. Tua makes that team different. I don't know what it is about him, but those couple of games where he was out, Hill, Waddle don't do anything, and then he comes back and they put numbers on the board. I mean, hell, they beat the Bills, the best team in the NFL. You can argue, the Heat game and all that, bring them up to Buffalo. It's probably a different story, but I think the Dolphins are big time trouble in the AFC. I think they're one of those teams that could just have that game when they need it and win. It could be the Bills. It could be the Chiefs. They got the weapons. I mean, that receiving core of Waddle and Hill is unreal. I mean, Gesicki's not a bad tight end. They don't really run the ball well, but it's like the Bills. You don't have to. Just throw it 60 times a game, and you're going to put up points. The defense is subject, I guess, but when you're scoring 40-some points a game, what's it matter?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is a reality. With Hill and Waddle, that team can put up points in a hurry. So I don't feel like they're ever going to really be out of the game. Again, we keep talking about how it's the Bills and the Chiefs, but I can see them upsetting. Like you said, they've already beat the Bills. I could see them beating the Chiefs. I don't think they're necessarily better than either of those teams. If we were playing 7-game series, I'd say Chiefs and Bills are going to win all day, but this is football. It's a 1-game deal. I really think Miami's a team that when you get into the playoffs, you don't want to see them on your matchup. You're trying to avoid them.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, and if you're the Bills or the Chiefs, you better make sure you win your division and lock up home field advantage, because, bringing Miami up to, let's say, Buffalo in January is going to be different, or even into KC. But I 100% agree that is not a team I would want to see on my radar come playoff time, because they could just go off at any moment.
Yeah, I agree. Reality or overreaction? The Bucs are in trouble in the NFC.
I'll say reality. They look like garbage. Tom Brady lost his third straight game for only the second time in his career. Now, I personally think, this week he's pissed and he's on a revenge tour and he's just going to go off. But their O-line is so banged up and anybody who knows anything about football knows pressure Brady up the middle, and he can't do it. He can't handle it, and they're definitely in trouble. That division sucks though. The NFC South's pretty garbage. So
actually, they're in second place. The Falcons are in first right now.
Right, but no, this is a reality. They're in trouble. They got to get it together. And I think you mentioned it last week, or Joe. What's not Flores? Yeah, Brian. Coach
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles. Why am I thinking Flores? Yeah, Todd Bowles is in trouble. I mean, obviously Bruce Arians may have been the glue that held that team to the better standard that they were, but Brady's done. You can blame it on whatever you want to blame it on. Him and Giselle getting divorced, whatever you want to say, but it's time for him to go. They're in trouble.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you here. They're just not showing me anything. I keep thinking there's these games where they're set up. The Ravens pasty is not that great. I thought this was going to be a coming out party for Tom, and again, showed me absolutely nothing. I just don't. it's one of these teams we think that the Bucs are going to get it together just because it's Tom Brady, because that defense is good. And maybe this is the year they finally don't get it together. And they're teetering very close to games that, you just can't lose anymore. You're getting to that point where you can't drop these games that are 50-50 games. And I just don't see it from them. I really think, and they can't run the ball at all. I mean, they're like dead last in rushing, I believe. I don't know how that's possible when the Rams are in the league. But yeah, they're not very good. I don't know what the answer is going to be down there, but I think we're going to see big changes in Tampa Bay going into next year.
Yeah, and Tampa's in trouble. I mean, Brady's going to go. If he comes back, he's just an idiot.
Yep.
But they're on the down slope. They're into a rebuilding. They're going to need a quarterback. There ain't nobody out there. College pools okay, but
it'll be interesting to see what these Bucs teams and this Rams team, what they look like after selling their souls for their Super Bowls. I mean, how many years is this going to set those franchises back? I guess you can say maybe it's paid off for one ring, but I'm a believer. I want to win multiple rings. I don't want to win one. I want to win multiple. And neither of those teams are in a situation to do that.
No.
Reality or overreaction? The NFC North and the AFC South, the races are over. The winners have been decided.
Ooh, man.
The Vikings are 6-1. I think. I can't even remember who's second.
The Vikings are quietly 6-1. I feel like the Vikings are so under the radar right now. Nobody's talking about them in the NFC, but yeah, I think it could be reality. I mean, the NFC North, I mean, you still got Aaron Rodgers. He's still Aaron Rodgers, but again, just to the last segment, I think everyone's thinking, well, it's still Aaron Rodgers. It's almost like Tom Brady. Like he's gonna get it together. He's gonna get it together. That team looks like shit too. He's got nobody. They're another team. I think. Why don't they run the ball more? I mean, you got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, just two studs in the backfield, but Vikings. I don't know. We'd have to look up how many games is Kirk got to play in primetime the rest of the year.
That is a hot stat. I did not look that up. We do know how that goes.
He's not playing in primetime this week. I know that, but this could absolutely be a reality.
I think they're 3 games up. I think the Packers 3-4, 3-5, something like that.
I think the Packers are 3-5 now. I think they're the same record as the Bucs at 3-5.
Yeah, I remember I looked at it and said, "Man, this is a pretty pretty hardy lead they have." And same with the AFC South. I mean, the Titans again, quiet somehow the 2 seed in the AFC right now. Makes no sense to me.
No, we all thought
I don't understand it, but I think that division, that division is wrapped up and over. I don't see any of those teams coming back, which is nuts to say at the midway point in the season. Are you pulling up the Packers stat?
Yeah. So NFC North, Vikings are 6-1, Packers are 3-5, Bears at 3-5, Lions 1-6. So yeah, and you're right. I mean, AFC South 5-2 for the Titans, 3-4 for the Colts. I mean, getting rid of Matt Ryan maybe is a okay thing for them. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has done absolutely nothing for them.
Terrible.
The Jaguars. Yeah, trust me. I'm so glad I didn't have the first pick this year. Jacksonville at 2-6, and the Texans are just the Texans. So
yeah. I think both these divisions are pretty much wrapped up. It'd take almost a small miracle for someone else to win these divisions at this point.
Yeah.
All right, last one of reality and overreaction. This is a big one. Mark Davis should fire his head coach before he fires his barber. And we all know his barber needs fired.
This is a great one. I think it's probably reality. I mean, McDaniels has done absolutely nothing with a pretty solid roster. I mean, David Carr is not that bad of a quarterback. He's had his moments. Josh Jacobs has his moments too. I mean, you brought in Devontae Adams. You got Darren Waller at tight end. I know he's been injured, but this is, McDaniels probably should have, not taking the job yet again before he actually took the job. This time he's just going to get straight up fired, and maybe Bill Belichick will take him back. I don't know.
I can't believe he got a job again. I mean, we all know this guy can't be a head coach in the NFL. He just doesn't work out. Great coordinator, not a great head coach. I think we're seeing his last ride right here. I think when he gets fired, that's it. Maybe catches on and coordinates, but he'll never be a head coach again. I can't remember the name of the Raiders interim coach last year. I was surprised they didn't hire him on, because he got, with all the adversity that team went through last year to get them to the playoffs, like, why would you not keep that guy? Instead, you got Josh McDaniels, who just looks awful.
I don't know this as a fact, but I'm not even sure he's even on the staff.
I don't know. I would imagine not. Usually after an interim guy like that, if you replace him, they usually take off. But yeah, I just can't believe. Cannot believe they didn't hold on to him.
Maybe your favorite coach, gets fired down there in Arizona too, Kingsbury, and then they'll just hire McDaniels in. They'll just take McDaniels instead and try to, trade terrible for terrible.
That would not surprise me at this point. Cliff is terrible. I just still can't believe Cardinals. God bless them. What are they thinking down there? All right. You got anything else for opening you want to cover? We will be getting to all of the trade in my hive. I don't know if I said that earlier, but we got a little game worked out for that. But all the trade deadline stuff will be covered later.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only other thing, I guess jumping back to Buzzkill a little bit right before the show, I was browsing the internet, and sad news in the Giants world. Tom Coughlin's wife passed away today from a really bad brain disorder. So, trending a lot on the Giants treads, and even Jacksonville too. So,
yeah.
Sad news there. I mean, Tom Coughlin was, a great coach for us, won us 2 Super Bowls. So
I always liked Coughlin. I thought he was a heck of a coach. I like the way he does things.
Yeah, she had some really, really rare brain disease of some sort, and she finally got up to her. So
no, that's too bad.
Sad news in the Giants world, but
that is that was a things that sting comment right there.
Right.
We're in the wrong segment there, Ian.
But no,
it happens.
I'm good other than that.
All right. Let me get over to this. And the Buzz was brought to you by Busch Light. Attention hunters, your favorite camo cans are back. Get it wherever you purchase your adult beverages, and please drink responsibly. And Napoli Pizza. That's right. When there's football season on TBSP, there's Napoli's weekly specials, pickup or delivery available, located in North Warren. We'll be right back with sports history.
Whenever you crack open a Busch Light, the mountains start singing.
It's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you.
What is going on?
Hit it, Giant Kenny G.
It's so smooth.
Head for the mountains of Busch Light Beer.
Hungry? Watching the game? Order some Napoli's Pizza, voted the best pizza in the Times Observer Reader's Choice every year. Homemade, hand-tossed, delicious hot pizza, stromboli, salads, subs, and so much more. Located in North Warren, come on in or call 814-723-7455 and ask about our specials. Pickup or delivery available 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Again, that's 814-723-7455.
Hi, this is Brian Hagberg, and I wanted to take a moment to tell you about our new website, yourdailylocal.com. Your Daily Local is your new home for news, sports, and events in Warren County and beyond. Our goal is to cover the people, places, events, and happenings that matter to you in a variety of ways, including writing, video, and audio. And the best part? All of our content is available for free. Head to yourdailylocal.com to get the news you need when you need it.
Let's take a look back at this week in sports history.
This edition of Sports History is brought to you by yourdailylocal.com. Visit yourdailylocal.com for the news you need when you need it. All right. This week on Sports History, thanks to the NFL trade deadline and all the action we had, we're going to go over some all-time bad NFL trades. Starting with, now these are not, just to clarify for everyone, these are not trade deadline trades. They're just bad trades in general. Starting with the 1987, the Bucs trade Steve Young to the San Francisco 49ers for a second and fourth round pick. Super Bowl winner, Hall of Famer, two-time MVP, Steve Young, for a 2 and a 4. What are your thoughts, Andy? Heck of a deal.
Heck of a deal. I mean, it's almost like the CMC trade. If it works out, the Niners are just apparently that front office has got, I don't even know, a time machine into the future. Hey, we're going to make this trade. This is going to work out for us. I mean, Steve Young. Yeah. Come on now.
All that to take, I believe, is Vinny Testaverde. They had the number 1 pick in the draft. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get Vinny.
Honestly, 1987, I was 1 year old, so I wouldn't even have known. But poor Bucs. Good job, Niners.
1990. You're not going to like this one. The Vikings trade for Herschel Walker. In the trade for Herschel Walker, they gave up. Oh, what did I lost something. Oh, Herschel Walker and 2 third-round picks. The Cowboys gave to the Vikings. The Vikings gave them 4 players, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, a third-round pick, and a 6th-round pick, which basically, if you know, the early 90s Cowboys dynasty was built using those picks, and Herschel Walker played 2 seasons with the Vikings and never eclipsed 1,000 yards.
Yeah, so what probably would have led to Aikman, Emmett, Irving days.
Aikman, Emmett, Irvin, all those. I can't remember if some of those guys were there, but one or two of them might have been there, and then they used that to build around them. They built the team with that trade. Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like that.
No, anything to do with the Cowboys, just skip it and move on because they're just garbage.
All right, 1998. The Chargers trade up for Ryan Leaf. They moved from 3 to pick number 2 for that year's 2nd-round pick and a first in 1999 to go up 1 spot for Ryan Leaf, who was just atrociously bad. One of the all-time busts in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, dude's probably, is he in jail? I mean, he was pretty much.
I don't know if he was for a bit.
He was, terrible.
A little bit of a pill problem, I believe.
Yeah, he was breaking into homes and
what wasn't the best.
Didn't realize
the next year in 1999, this is probably an even worse trade. The Saints trade for Ricky Williams. The Saints moved up from 12 to 5. To move up from 12 to 5, they gave the Redskins every single pick they had in that draft. 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7. And then they gave them their number 1 from the next year, which ended up being the 2nd overall pick, and a 3rd-round pick in the 2000 draft. Absolutely atrocious.
What are these?
One of the worst trades.
What are these people thinking? Like, nobody's worth that.
I mean, I get back then, like, running backs were big, but to trade your whole draft away for Ricky Williams, plus a 1 the next year, too. I don't know what Mike Ditka was smoking. He must have been hanging out with Ricky before.
Yeah, you say, him and Ricky hung out and just, freaking clam baked in the car in the parking lot. I don't know.
And then we move all the way to 2013 for our last one. The Colts trade for Trent Richardson, a 1st-round pick to go get Trent Richardson, who was absolutely terrible after that first year in Cleveland.
I forgot about Trent Richardson.
It's rare that you say the Browns won a trade, which you would think that they won this trade. However, that pick that they got for Trent, they used it to move up to take Johnny Football next year.
Oh, God, that makes
so
it
the Browns
worse.
still lost.
Yes,
they still lost. Gotta love Cleveland. All right. That wraps it up for sports history. This edition of Sports History is brought to you by yourdailylocal.com. Visit yourdailylocal.com for the news you need when you need it. We'll be right back with, Sketty on. I got my whole episode. I don't know why we need Sketty on. Oh, get rid of my banner. See, Joe's smoother with the transitions than I am. All right, here we go.
Hey there, everyone. This is Phil with JP Photography. I know. A photography ad on a sports show? I get it. You're here for sports talk and listening to Joe and Sketty's insane rambling.
Wait, what?
But bear with me for a few. I just want to tell you that JP Photography not only offers wedding photography, but also does events, engagements, headshots, family photos, and even some product photography. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for JP Photography or go directly to our website at johnphilphotography.com. That's JONPHIL photography.com.
He's absolute trash.
Sketty on. Let's have a listen to what Sketty's on this week.
0% chance that works.
This week's Sketty On is brought to you by Complete Roofing Systems. The best the business has to offer, matched with the best prices. For your free estimate, go to crsroofingteam.com or call them at 716-640-4609. So I'm introducing my own segment here, which is kind of weird for me. But this week, we are going to talk about one of the worst trades in NFL history. Now, if you haven't seen this going around, have you seen the memes or Facebook posts about what the Dolphins have turned the Trey Lance pick into?
I saw it 10 minutes before the show, and I was like, is it really true? Like, is that the picks that the Dolphins ultimately used?
Yeah, so those were the picks. Now, however, they put a bunch of stuff with those picks to get these guys. So the first round picks that the Niners gave the Dolphins for Trey Lance, or the pick that took Trey Lance, they netted Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and now Bradley Chubb. My buddy sends me this message earlier today with that graphic, and the guy saying, this could go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history. And I have no freaking idea how anybody could even fathom to say that at this point. The Dolphins have 1-0. Since the trade, the Niners have been to an NFC championship game, which is further than the Dolphins have been in I don't know how many freaking years, but probably 40 years almost. It's like Dan Marino, the last time that they were in a Super Bowl. Blows my mind that this is even a thought that people are having. I get it. I like what the Dolphins did with those picks. I really do. But the Niners holding on to them wouldn't have been able to do the same thing because of all the extra stuff the Dolphins added to these picks. I think it's a garbage take by garbage human beings who just hate the Niners. Everyone loves to hate us because we're good. Drives me nuts. And Trey Lance has played like 3 games, which if he's perennially injured, I can understand where you'd say this is a bust. But for all we know, this guy's going to come out and they're going to start banging out Super Bowl rings like he's Tom freaking Brady. You just don't know. It's way too early to project anything at this point.
That's bold, Tom Brady. Come
on. Nobody's going to win that many. Unless Trey Lance marries a supermodel and agrees to take less money, it's not going to happen again.
Out there in California, you never know.
It's possible. Although if Jimmy didn't land a supermodel, I don't know if Trey's got much of a chance.
That is true. Yeah, I can see it. Trey Lance got to prove himself, though. It could be a terrible trade until the dude's healthy and just proving himself. I think I drafted him in fantasy football this year thinking that he was going to have a good year. We'll see where that happened, but no one can predict injuries. But
I drafted him as well. I think the guys I think when he plays, he's going to be a stud. It's just a matter of getting him on the field. I think they kind of blew it, last year with Jimmy. They should have just started Trey and let him get his feet wet. Like, he needs that experience to learn how to play this game at this level. They're kind of behind the ball now with this injury. Really threw him off. So hopefully he does develop.
What did they sign McCaffrey to? Is he on a 1 year to what is his deal?
I think if they have
Trey
an
Lance
out,
comes back next year and McCaffrey's there, it could be dangerous.
Yeah, they have an out after this year, but I'm assuming with all that they gave up, they're planning on keeping him or possibly restructuring that deal, which has been one of my biggest things I think I've said about the McCaffrey trade is that the money is a bigger deal than the picks, because not only did you lose the picks, you now are going to have to lose guys or restructure a bunch of contracts to make this work. I'm pretty sure they haven't re-signed Bosa yet. Dre Greenlaw, can't remember if Dre got a deal or not, but there's like guys that are coming up. Eric Armstead's getting paid a bunch of money. I think they're going to have to try and get that deal off the books. It's kind of a mess there, salary cap wise, unless they can borrow the Rams magic money tree and they can just pay everyone some.
Yeah, we got one of those in New York too, which
I like it. All right. That's it for this week's Getty On. This week's Getty On is brought to you by Complete Roofing Systems. The best the business has to offer, matched with the best prices. For your free estimate, find them at crsroofingteam.com or call them at 716-640-4609. We will be right back with the things that sting.
Jones Pest Control, your hometown pest control company servicing residential and commercial properties in Warren and surrounding areas since 2015. Sean and his crew will work tirelessly to keep your home or business free of insects to rodents and everything in between. Contact Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548 and set up an appointment today. And remember, ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control, 814-230-9548.
Checkout means sales and services with 2 locations on Warren's East Side. Their garage at 800 Lexington Avenue not only services cars sold by Means, but has knowledgeable staff and modern state-of-the-art equipment waiting to serve their hometown of Warren. Whatever you need, including alignments, tires, brakes, yearly or enhanced PA inspections, oil changes, and much more. Make your appointment today at 814-723-7191, extension 2.
It's now time for the things that sting. The worst stories in sports, according to Joe.
This week's Things That Sting is powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548. That's 814-230-9548. All right. Now, this is Joe's segment, Andy. He takes care of this. He's the boss of this. I'm kind of winging it this week. So hopefully no one gets too upset if this is a little junky. First up, we're going to cover a story that we had touched on a little bit a while ago, maybe a real long while ago. Britt Reed, Andy Reid's son, was sentenced to 3 years in prison for driving drunk and slamming into a parked car. He hurt the little girl. She was like 5 years old, I believe. Which was right before the Super Bowl against the Bucks, I believe. Left the team facility, hammered. They were parked on the on-ramp, slams into him. I think he hurt 6 people, including himself. She was the worst, still having problems. Prosecution had asked for a 4-year sentence. The family wanted the max sentence of 7 years. The judge in the case decides to go with 3 years in this sentence. Kind of mind-blowing to me. I mean, the guy admitted that he was drunk at the team facility. He's doing like 84 up this on-ramp, slams into him. 3 years seems like it's a slap on the wrist. I believe I saw that he could be out in as little as 1 year with time served.
Yeah, this is just terrible. I mean, and I don't know if it's this son with Andy Reid. I mean, isn't there some stuff out there that, his sons have had some substance abuse issues in the past, and like I personally, I hate this type of stuff. I feel like these, I want to call him, he's not a celebrity, but these more little famous people, get off on it. And if I'm the parent of that 5-year-old girl, I'd be pissed to high heavens of this guy's. And then and our justice system is I'm sure Joe can attest to, doing his line of work is sometimes just a flat out joke. And being out in a year this is terrible. They need to
Yeah.
punish these people and make examples of it. Doesn't matter who you are, what your last name is, what your status in this world is. You're not above anybody else, and it just seems like that's how it happens.
I don't have it written down, and I can't remember, but I thought I read in there that this was part of a plea deal, which the prosecution asked for 4 years. So this is part of a plea deal where he says, yeah, I did it, I'm guilty, and they're recommending 4 years. Sounds like he agreed to 4 years. I don't know what the logic was to say, we're only going to give you 3. I just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know what the judge was thinking in this case.
I 100% agree. It's terrible. Anytime I became a father in 2020, and your life just, as joking, your life changes. It's just something that flips, and you're like, no, you'd do anything to hurt my kid. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next we have Adam Zimmer, dead at 38, son of head coach Mike Zimmer. Used to be the coach of the Vikings, I believe. He was currently a Bengals assistant coach. He was found dead in his Minnesota home after Mendota Heights Police Department responded to a welfare check. They're saying the death was not suspicious, and the Hennepin County medical examiner will rule on and release his cause of death when they determine what it is. Sounds a little weird to me at 38. I don't know if he's having health problems, as if this is another one of these sad stories where we're covering that this guy possibly committed suicide. Probably should wait till all the details come out before we speculate, but 38 is way too young. I mean, I'm knocking that door down right now, and it just seems nuts to me that you could be gone at that point.
Yeah, I did not see this headline anywhere, but yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, a couple of years, I'm going to be right there too, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes about of it. Not suspicious is fine, but did he have a problem too that nobody knew about, and you don't know. You got to see what they say.
I was listening to I think NFL Network yesterday, and which is originally where I heard the story. And it sounds like the players, I think they had Alexander Madison on, who had known him from the time that Zimmer was his head coach. And, he said the same thing that everyone has been saying about him. Like, the guy was just a super nice guy, really good guy. Always had a smile, positive attitude. So it's really sad to see someone like that pass away.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Next, MLB makes Maldonado say bye-bye to his bats. So for those of you who've missed it, Major League Baseball had ruled that Martin Maldonado can no longer use the bats he received from former teammate Albert Pujols. So Pujols had gifted him these bats, I believe the half dozen right before the World Series. They're maple bats. They're a little bit bigger barrel from what I understand, smaller handle. They say it's a player safety issue, not a competitive advantage. The bats, when they break, could break into multiple pieces. Apparently, these bats were banned in 2010, but if you had been using the bats like Pujols was, you were allowed to continue using these bats, which seems a little goofy to me, because if it's a player safety issue and not a competitive advantage issue, why would Pujols be allowed to wear it? Like, you could hurt somebody else. Why are they allowing these bats to still be in play? But anyway, they found him, said you can't use them. No big deal. He just can't use the six bats anymore. As a baseball guy, I'd love your input on this.
I had no idea this was a topic in the world, to be honest with you. But yeah, if Pujols was allowed to use them, after 2010, so because they've, changed owners, what's the MLB looking at? I'm all for player safety. I mean, if that's, because they're using more ash-based things now, I think, than maple. But if it's a player safety, then it should just be a flat bottom line. Like, I don't care who you are, Albert Pujols, Barry Bonds, you're not using this bat. Plain and simple.
Yeah,
why is there an exception for one guy but not the other? This
that's
makes
what
no
I
sense.
That's what I kind of thought when I looked into. Bees had sent me this story, and when I looked into it, I was shocked by that as well. Like you're saying, I thought this was something that maybe had just recently happened. We're talking about 12 years now. Pujols has been using these bats. If they were banned because they were a danger to other players, how does that make it right? I think the example I saw said, in hockey when they made everyone go to helmets, and they said, well, if you played without a helmet before, you're kind of grandfathered in. Well, you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting anyone else without your helmet on. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Just a weird story.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I can see this, last couple of years you make this ban, but 12 years ago, and get it together. Major League Baseball has problems.
Don't understand that one at all. All right, our next story. Is the Rams money tree getting thin? This week, Stan Kroenke, owner of the LA Rams, was ruled he will have to pay $571 million of the $790 million settlement the NFL had reached with St. Louis when the Rams moved. The rest of that money will come from the other 31 teams who were deducted $7.5 million apiece from the revenue sharing in May. The teams thought that Kroenke would foot the entire bill, but since St. Louis was suing all 32 teams, he threatened to settle with just the city himself and leave the other owners hanging out to dry. St. Louis felt the Rams didn't follow the NFL guidelines for relocation, and the other owners were also at fault for voting to allow them to move. So basically, he's going to eat $600 million loss here for moving the team. I was kind of surprised to see that all of the NFL was involved, but I guess they do make a good point. St. Louis sued the entire NFL because they had to vote to allow the Rams to leave St. Louis. So I guess they were culpable to an extent, but it said it's a pretty contentious situation right now. Nobody's happy with the Rams.
What does the Rams owner do? Like, where does he get all of this money? I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to LA. I was in LA in May. We went out there, and freaking city's a piece of shit. Like, it is dirty. It is gross. Like, there isn't a good, other than Beverly Hills, but that's because there's, hundreds of millions of dollars that they just pay to the place is dirty. When my wife and I talked after, I'm like, I'd never go back. The only way I would go back would probably to go to SoFi Stadium and watch a football game. Other than that, I have no desire to go to that. Like, where does this dude get his money? And what are they?
$12.5 billion he's worth. $12.5 billion. So I'm pretty sure the $500 million isn't going to hurt him too bad. But I thought the same thing. So what the heck is going on here? So a big loss for the Rams. We'll see. Maybe not a big loss to him. I guess if you have $12 billion, I mean, does it hurt that much? I don't know.
Yeah,
St. Louis should be grinning now. St. Louis just made $1 billion for what their team leave. Hallelujah. All right. Last story in this things that sting. We're going to cover the Michigan State brawl. So, did you see the video of this?
I've seen it, yes.
Okay. So, two Michigan players ended up, apparently it's a shared tunnel, I believe, that when they go to the locker room. But if you watch the video, after the Michigan State game, two Michigan players are somehow in the mix with the Michigan State players, like going into the tunnel at the same time. Jamon Green and Jaden McBurrows. After they get into the tunnel, it's alleged Green was hit with fists and a helmet. He suffered a concussion and cuts to his face. McBurrows, I believe, went in after him after seeing him get hit. He still requires medical attention for his facial injuries, according to his mother. Coach Harbaugh says, and I quote, "There needs to be accountability. There needs to be a full, thorough, timely investigation. I can't imagine this will not result in criminal charges. The videos are bad, and it's clear what transpired. It seems very open and shut. As they say, watch the tape." Michigan State has responded. Sunday, head coach Mel Tucker announced that 4 players, Tank Brown, Kerry Crump, which I know he did something bad, but Kerry Crump is a pretty sweet name. Angelo Goose and Zion Young were all suspended indefinitely. Tuesday, 4 more players, Malcolm Jones, Justin White, Jacoby Windman, and Brandon Wright, were also suspended. In a joint statement, Mel Tucker and Vice President of Michigan State and Director of Athletics, Alan Haller, say Michigan State University athletics and the football program are committed to the highest level of sportsmanship. We are transparently working with law enforcement and the Big Ten Conference to evaluate additional facts and evidence surrounding the events in Ann Arbor. We will continue to take appropriate action in this matter as we learn more. this whole thing seemed pretty freaking wild to me. First off, I don't know what the heck the two Michigan players were thinking. Like, in the video, they're kind of just like away from their team in the Michigan State. It's not like they got sucked in. So I don't know what happened there. Not that it's okay what happened to them. Assault is assault. That's a bad thing. But first things first, don't put yourself in that situation. You wouldn't have this problem.
Exactly.
But secondly, that video is just, you can't do this as a Michigan State athlete. I don't care who you are, how bad you got beat, what they said to you. You can't be slamming people with helmets and stuff. I mean, these kids are probably going to be facing some very real consequences. I would assume anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it'll all come out in the wash, hopefully, but it's like, what, like you said, what were the two Michigan players doing there? Like, why are you in that situation? And, did this stem from something on the field? I mean, anybody who's played football knows it gets pretty nasty out there sometimes. And that rivalry is, big time in that state. And, what was said on the field? What, did it spill over into that tunnel? And then, I'm curious to see what the NCAA does. I mean, in today's world with these type of things happening, I mean, is the NCAA going to come down on Michigan State hard? Yeah, I'm glad that, these players are, being charged or whatever and kicked off the team and all that. But, is NCAA come down and put some suspensions on Michigan State? There's been some past precedences in, other situations. So that's going to be interesting too. I mean, this story is not over. I feel like, this is something that, you and Joe and everybody probably could talk about in another 4 or 5 months again, following up. This is definitely just bad all the way around. Shame on those kids. Like you said, that they
that's
potentially had a bright future ahead of them in the sports world, and it's over for them.
I mean, you lost your chance at free education here, more than likely, because if you get suspended, you're probably going to get kicked out of the university after that happens. Again, we'll see how this thing pans out. I'll be interested to get Joe's take on it because he handles a little more of the legal side of things. He knows what's going to happen there. But yeah, this is just a bad look for college football. Like you said, I do think the one thing that's going to help Michigan State in this case is that they're being proactive, throwing these kids off the team. I think that's going to help them a little bit in the NCAA's eyes. But we'll see how it transpires. But man, what a bad look for college football. It's an ugly day. Something you can't have happening.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, I'm with you on Michigan State being proactive, but I'm also one of them people. It's like I feel like we jump the gun sometimes. Like obviously they have reasoning to get rid of these 8 players at this point, but we just we got to let it play out, get the facts, and we'll see. But
we'll see if it. And again, they're just indefinite suspensions right now. You never know. Kids could be reinstated if they find out they weren't involved. More people, it could come out that there are more people involved. We don't know. It's going to just be something we're going to have to watch from here on out. And again, I'm sure Joe will be bringing us some sort of good inside knowledge when he comes back with his nice tan from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I hope he's got sock rings and a hat ring. And
I know. I'm personally hoping that he's shooting 175 every round. All right. This week's Things That Sting is powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, and mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control, 814-230-9548. That's 814-230-9548. We'll be right back with My Hive.
Blue Line Auto, located at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue East in Warren, is locally owned and operated and is a family-run business specializing in vehicle sales and service. They offer state and safety inspections and general car repairs, including but not limited to brakes and rotors, tires, oil changes, batteries, starters, and alternators. They also offer vehicle undercoating prior to winter to help keep your vehicle protected. Currently, their hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Thursday and Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them today to schedule your next appointment at 814-230-9061. Your safety is their goal.
Hi, this is Ryan Klein, the host of the new pop culture podcast, Me, Myself, and Rye. You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and several other platforms. Special guests, breakaway shows, bonus episodes, cold beers, and a whole lot more. So what are you guys and gals waiting for? Subscribe now to the Me, Myself, and Rye podcast on Spotify or wherever it is that you get your shows and start listening today.
My High, Joe and Sketty's very own world of sports.
My Hive is brought to you by Blue Line Auto. For all your automotive needs, call Blue Line Auto at 814-230-9061 or stop in at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue East in Warren. All right, Andy, My Hive. We are playing win, lose, or draw. So we're going to go over all the trades that happened here at the deadline, or at least the big ones. And I'm going to have you tell me who won the trade, who lost the trade, or maybe if the trade was a draw. It worked out equally for both sides. And then after you tell me what you think, I'll tell you why you're right or why you're wrong. You ready?
I'm going to be right every time. Come on now.
All right. Well, we're going to start with, and hold on, I got to pull this back up. Let me see. All right. We're going to start with Nyheim Hines to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills traded away Zach Moss and a conditional 6th-round pick for Nyheim Hines. I will give you, Joe texted me about this because he wanted to have his output out there. So from Joe, I'm going to read the text message. He said they got rid of Moss, who isn't good and has been a healthy and active for 2 or 3 weeks. So they got Hines for cheap, who's a pass-catching threat from the backfield. But the thing the thing he likes most about the trade is that stat guy Darren hates it. So you tell me, now that we know what Joe thinks, what do you think?
I'm going draw on this. The Buffalo Bills don't run the ball. Like, I understand that Hines is a pass catcher out of the backfield, but they just don't run the ball. So, why did they trade for a running back? Because he's a pass catcher. I guess it makes sense, but no, I think it's a draw. Hines and Moss. Hines is probably a little bit better than Moss, in my opinion, going across, the board. But, given the, I pulled it up here, conditional 5th-round draft pick in 2023.
Yep.
If the Bills ran the ball more, and I've said it from the start of the season, and I will continue to say it until the Bills prove me wrong, unless they run the ball more, they're in trouble, I think, in the long run. And Hines doesn't provide any value on that side. So I'm going with draw.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on this, Andy. I think it was a draw. The Bills are never going to run the football. They didn't bring Hines in to do that. The one thing I will say is I know they tried to get J.D. McKissick from the Commanders, as Joe would call them, before the season. Didn't work out. So, maybe Ken Dorsey has something lined up for Hines. They're going to throw another little wrinkle in this offense. I mean, I do like Hines. I think he's a heck of a playmaker. But, he wasn't doing anything in Indianapolis. They got something for him. You weren't going to get much for just a guy who's a pass-catching running back. I think this is a pretty even trade for both sides. Next, your boy, Kadarius Toney, to the Chiefs for a 3rd-round compensatory pick and a 6th-round pick.
Oh boy. I knew you were going to ask me this. I knew this was going to come up in this episode tonight. I think it's a win for the Chiefs, unfortunately. I wish, and why the Giants traded away Toney is baffling to me when we got the freaking $60 million Kenny Golladay who can't even catch a freaking cold. I think it's a win. Toney, he hasn't proven himself, but in the games that he has played, he was an absolute beast. I mean, I'm staring at stats.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's only played in like 12 games over 2 years, and he can't stay healthy. But when he's on the field, he just absolutely destroys it. And I feel like Andy Reid is, he's one of them coaches that these guys are just going to go play for, and Tony's going to put whatever BS aside and he's going to go play. And I think the Giants get screwed out of it. I mean, I would have rather have seen Galladay gone, but that's a cap issue. I mean, we're paying that guy way too much money. No one's going to eat that cap. I think it's a win for the Chiefs, and shame on the Giants. I think this guy could have, he sort of reminds me of Odell Beckham with his ability on the field, but he also reminds me of Odell Beckham with his attitude at the same time. But I think the Chiefs win this trade.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs, but just ever so slightly won this trade, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I agree with you, Tony. When the guy's on the field, is an absolute stud. I went and grabbed him in every fantasy league I could as soon as the news broke, just to stash to see what happens, because maybe he does have a little of that Tyreek Hill role. And going to Patrick Mahomes is only going to help from Daniel Jones. Like I can't, it's got to be an improvement. Patrick Mahomes is an improvement over at least 30 other NFL quarterbacks. However, it seemed like and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think I kind of heard that Tony might not even make the team. There was a little bit of conflict at the beginning of the year. So, to get 2 picks for the guy, you wasted a first round pick, but you got a third back. Granted, it's going to be a late third. But you got something for him. It's better than just, hey, this isn't working out and we're just going to have to release you, But yeah, another buddy brought up the point. He said the Giants are a wide receiver hungry team right now. They don't have a good pass catcher. So it kind of sets off a red flag to him that they would be willing to part ways with a wide receiver for, especially when the return's only a third round pick. He thinks there might be kind of something up with Tony, attitude problem, like you said. So he really doesn't know how much faith he has in Tony in Kansas City. And I can see that logic. I really can.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, he's a risk and a reward receiver. I mean, he could go in there and be the best trade of, the deadline, or he could also be the biggest bust too. Him and Dable never saw eye to eye. I mean, even, Joe Judge last year, I mean, they fought. I mean, he's just kind of like just one of those guys that thinks he's untouchable. And I think Dable and, Sheehan saw it and said, okay, see ya. We don't, look what they did with Odell. I mean, they did the same thing with Odell. I mean, we paid the dude $95 million that one year and then get rid of him the next. Like, the Giants organization isn't going to put up with it. And I think Tony was just another one of them. So we'll see. I, was a little sad to see him go because I think he's got a lot of upside. But
yeah,
we need to get rid of Galladay. If we got rid of Galladay, I'd be so happy.
I don't know what you would have been able to trade him for. A bag of potato chips? Like,
that's about all he's worth.
Not much. All right, next. James Robinson to the Jets for a conditional 6th that could be a 5th if he hits 600 yards rushing with the Jets this year.
I think it's a win for the Jets. I mean, losing Breece Hall was a big-time loss for them. I mean, that dude was coming into his own. James Robinson is not a bad running back. I think he can hit that 600-yard mark. The Jets made a move. They knew that, they're a contender right now. They lost their number 1 running back. They needed to make a move. Robinson was available, and I think it's a solid move for them. So I'd go with a win for the Jets.
Yeah, this is going to be the first one I kind of disagree with you on. I think that this was more of a draw than anything. It was a win-win for both teams. I totally agree with the fact they had to make a move with Breece Hall going down, and I like James Robinson. Yes, he's coming off the Achilles injury, but he's been fairly solid so far. The return was not that great for him. We're talking about maybe a 5th-round pick for a pretty good running back. It's not excellent return, but it's okay return for the Jags. But I think the big reason this is a win for the Jags is you can let Travis Etienne get out there and start showing what he can do. And I mean, he has showed out for the last 2 games. I mean, he has been an absolute stud. Now that he's a clear bell cow back there, get your young player on and let him run with it. Get him the experience he needs.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, the Achilles injury is the overall telling tale of, and I mean, look at Cam Akers out there in LA. I know you hate LA,
Yep.
but he same injury, and he's junk now. He's just
Yep.
washed up, and it's not the same.
Which there's one of those things. Maybe the Jags know that, Robinson has some sort of lingering pain or something, they're not seeing something the same. So maybe they just said, let's get out while we can get something. And again, better than getting nothing for a guy.
Yeah. I can see your point.
We're going to stick in Jacksonville. Calvin Ridley to the Jags. Now, this is kind of a complicated trade here. They potentially are going to get a 5th-round pick in 2023 and a 2nd in 2024, but there's a lot of ifs and buts here. That 5th-round pick in 23 only becomes a 5th-round pick if he's reinstated by a certain date. The 2nd-round pick in 2024 has a lot of I don't want to say incentives, but there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. He has to make the team, and then he has to play a certain amount of games, and then they have to sign him to a long-term deal for that to return to be a 2nd-round pick. Kind of a crazy one.
I honestly, when you said this segment was coming, I did some Googling. I had no idea this trade took place until
I thought it kind of flew under the radar as well. Yeah, it didn't get a lot of hype.
With everything that you just said, I didn't really read a whole lot of details about it. I think it's a loss for the Jags. There's a lot of what ifs in this trade, and the number one outlying was, is he going to be reinstated? Me personally, I think he should be reinstated. I mean, he bet on football. Come on now, like, it's the world we live in. But who knows? Roger Goodell, maybe he's going to try to make a point, and he may not be reinstated. So, this could be a giant loss for the Jaguars in the long run. And then all those what ifs on that conditional pick in 2024. I'm going loss for the Jags.
Now, see, this is one I'm going to totally disagree with you. I think this was a win for the Jags. And I don't want to say it's a complete win for the Jags because I like what the Falcons did, because they're going to potentially get up to a 5th and a 2nd-round pick from the Jags. We forget that Calvin Ridley was not playing before he got suspended. He was on his mental health break or whatever it was. So I think they envisioned him, especially with the Drake London pick. I don't think they saw him as part of the future of this team. Whereas the Jags, you gave up potentially a 5th and a 2nd for a guy who has top 10 wide receiver talent if he's on the field, if he becomes reinstated. And if he doesn't get reinstated, it costs you a 6th-round pick and a 4th-round pick to find out. I'm not of the belief that he's going to have any problems with that, but I think the Jags, if he gets reinstated and his mental health is right and he plays, I think the Jags hit an absolute home run with this.
Yeah, I think keyword being if.
That's true. Time will tell. Time will tell.
There's a lot of outside factors that the Jags have no control over to make this worth their while.
You can't really believe, like you said, you got to think he's going to get reinstated. There's no way you can give Deshaun Watson 11-game suspension and then say, Calvin Ridley, we're sorry, you're done football for life for betting whatever it was, $1,400 on football games.
I mean, hell, they gave Josh Gordon how many tries?
No, that's true. That is true. That is very true. All right, next up. No, this one you might not like either. Art Quinn to the Eagles for a 4th-round pick.
Just Jesus Christ, win all the way for the Eagles. I mean, what are the Bears doing? I mean, they got rid of Roquan Smith as well, right? And now Robert Quinn, like, Jesus Christ, the Eagles didn't need any more firepower. And this, as a Giants, just pisses me out. An absolute 100% win for the Eagles. Congratulations. You may have just been handed the NFC East, and God damn it, Chicago. Like, what are you doing? There must be just a fire sale in Chicago. And if there was an Andy on in this segment, this probably would be it. Like, this is just bullshit. Piss me off to no end. God. Win. 100% win for the Eagles.
I totally agree with you. A team that's, let's be real, they're probably looking at like the best team in the NFC. Like, I don't even know who's even close to them. Potentially the Niners, if they get healthy. Like, I don't think the Cowboys are for real. Your Giants, I really think the Giants are just a year too early. They're like 1 year away. They're overachieving right now, but I don't know if they can really compete in the NFC.
The only maybe is the Vikings just silently up there.
Oh yeah, the Vikings. Yeah, the Vikings. Could potentially get there. But yeah,
you're gonna put Kirk in prime time to play the Eagles. Probably
exactly.
In a battle at the end of the year. We just know how that goes.
All the playoff games are prime time, so Kirk is in trouble. But yeah, I mean, to get a premier pass rusher like that for a 4th round pick, hands down win. This is your year, and you can give that pick up. I totally agree. Eagles hit this one out of the park. Staying in Chicago, like you just mentioned, Roquan to the Ravens for a 2 and a 5. You got to tell me. I don't know.
This is tough. I don't know if the 5th round pick. Okay. The second, I don't know if Roquan's worth the 2nd round. I mean, the Ravens had to do something. I mean, their defense has blown so many damn games. I think this was more of a Hail Mary in a sense. I guess I don't know
they gave a 2 and a 5, and if you remember, Roquan had requested a trade at the beginning of the year.
True. So I mean,
so it sounded like they kind of felt like he was going to be gone, and they were just like, let's recoup something for him.
I guess I'd say win-win for both. I mean, Ravens are getting a hell of a defensive player, and yeah, to your point, I mean, Chicago's getting rid of a guy that clearly didn't want to be there. So good for Chicago, I guess, for getting that 2nd round pick. I just don't think he's worth it, but I go win. I guess I'm going to go win for both sides.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, it helps the Ravens out. They needed some defensive help, and the Bears, like you said, basically a fire sale. He doesn't want to be there. You're not going to retain him. To get a 2 and a 5 for a guy, I mean, I think Roquan's maybe a little better than that. They could have maybe found a better deal, but whatever. You got something, and like you said, anything's better than nothing at this point. However, the next one we're going to cover is the Bears, who are sellers, decide to turn around and buy Chase Claypool for their own 2nd round pick. Wasn't the Ravens' 2nd round pick? It was their own 2nd round pick. I'd love to hear what you think about this.
Win for the Steelers, loss for the freaking the Bears. I mean, I don't think Claypool really fit into that system in Pittsburgh. I think him and I think it's under the radar. Him and Tomlin butted heads. I mean, the dude just I don't think he's a bad receiver, but win for the Pittsburgh for getting rid of the guy and getting a 2nd round draft pick next year for him. I don't know what he was drafted. What? I don't even know.
He was in the 2nd round, I believe.
Was he a 2nd rounder? So
yeah. So like they were saying, very rare that you get the same return for a guy.
Yeah, I mean, win for the Steelers. It could pan out for Chicago. I mean, I don't think, like I said, he's not a bad receiver. Put him, side by side with Darnell Mooney. Okay, maybe. You still got Justin Fields throwing you the ball. I'm not sold on that. I haven't been sold on that guy since he came out of Ohio State. I'm not sold on any Ohio State player, but.
One more thing we agree on, Andy. That's one more thing we agree on. I think Justin Fields is trash. Extremely overrated.
Every Ohio State players. Think about them. Think about any of the bigs that have come out of Ohio State in the last 5-6 years. None of them pan out.
That is true.
Came out. I heard today that I think Jerry Jones came out and said that it's now a 50-50 split in Dallas, which should have been done a long time ago. Elliott is trash. The dude is complete trash. Put Tony Pollard in the game. Sell on Zeke, but he's another one of them. I got my money. He don't give a shit.
They paid him too much money. It shouldn't even be a 50-50 split. It should be like 70-30 for Pollard, but they paid him too much money.
Agreeing with the Cowboys, but they should be playing Pollard all day long.
Absolutely. I really do. I think the Steelers kind of won this trade right now. However, maybe Claypool gets it going there. I mean, he does have a ton of talent, big guy, fast, pretty good hands. I mean, other than he doesn't know what to do with the football when he makes a big catch at the end of a game, like he doesn't know how to do the 2-minute drill. It's not his strong suit, but the Bears aren't going to be in that many games that they need to win. So maybe they can hide that and it's fine.
I mean, I'm playing them in fantasy. I mean, I'm kind of was forced to. I have them. But I need a receiver. But I'm like, hey, maybe he goes there and breaks out. I don't know.
I think it's worth a shot because he's going to be higher up the pecking order. I would assume there, but I don't know how much that's going to help with Justin Fields throwing you. Although, how much of a downgrade is it when you have Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky throwing you the ball? It can't get much worse. All right, next. This was probably one of the most interesting trades, I thought. TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings. Interdivision trade. The Hawkinson and 2 4th-round picks for a second in 2023 and a 3rd-round pick in 2024.
Yeah, this one's interesting. The fact that it's interdivision is just baffling to me. I mean, that's like, football 101. Don't trade a fairly decent player to your rival, but if I have to pick, I see win for the Vikings. I mean, TJ Hawkinson's not a bad tight end. I think he's pretty solid. I mean, hell, they got Irv Smith too, who's been okay.
Banged up ankle is what the reason is, they said.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a tale of Detroit maybe on the fire sale a little bit of, let's get some value for this guy while we can. So I guess it's a win for both. Detroit's getting some decent picks out of it. Minnesota's getting a guy that you could sign for a year or two at probably going to produce for you almost immediately and go from there. Not a bad trade, just interesting, I guess, more than anything being an interdivision.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I really think that it kind of surprised me just because Hawkinson's a good player. To send him in the division is kind of nuts, but it sounds like re-signing him was going to be kind of an issue. They weren't going to re-sign him. So again, you get a 2 and a 3 for this guy, even though he goes within your division. The Lions aren't competing in that division right now anyway. And who knows, maybe if the Vikings have to fork over a bunch of money to keep Hawkinson, it hurts them in the long run. Because that's other, money you could be using elsewhere. You're wasting on a tight end position, especially when you have Justin Jefferson already. I guess Thielen's probably on his way out. Dalvin Cook, like you got guys that are getting paid there. Kirk Cousins is probably making $1 billion a year or something like that. Who knows? They just keep paying him. But yeah, just interesting trade for sure. All right, we got 2 left, both from the same team. We're going to start with the big one. Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins it was Bradley Chubb and a 5th-round pick for the 49ers' 1st-round pick this year, a 4th-round pick, and Chase Edmonds.
My opinion, big win for the Dolphins, huge loss for Denver. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the show. I mean, I think the Dolphins are a team to reckon with. You're getting one of the better linebackers in the NFL onto that defense. Can only make them better. I don't think he's going to make them any worse. Denver's just an absolute dumpster fire out there. Chase Edmonds, I mean, why Chase Edmonds? I don't know. I mean, you got Melvin Gordon, you signed Latavius Murray. I don't even think he was signed at the time. I think they brought him in once Williams went down. And now you got 3 guys that arguably could be a starting running back and bring him in. Like, you're getting nothing out of it. 1st-round draft pick in 2023. Okay. Better do something with it. I mean, better go get a damn quarterback because Russell Wilson's done. I mean, although,
agreed.
250 some $1 million is not going to happen, but absolute huge win for the Dolphins. Terrible loss for the Broncos.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's nice to get the 1st-round pick, so maybe you can do something, but because you traded all of them away to get Russell Wilson. But yeah, Chase Edmonds, I don't know what his deal was. I should have looked that up before I did the segment, but I know the Dolphins just paid him. So now you have a running back that's a bunch of money unless they ate money in the trade deal. Miami's going to pay some of it. I'm not sure, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. I get asking for Edmonds because you want to patch the running back position this year, but you got to be realistic too. That Denver can't think they're making the playoffs. They look like shit right now. I just can't believe they're going to get it together after the bye week. I think the Dolphins just absolutely hammered them on this trade.
Yeah, I don't think Chase Edmonds is a bad. I have him, and I'm screwed in fantasy this week because I have him in anticipation of a bye week, and I got freaking Jesus. I got Chubb, Latavius Murray, Edmonds, and Zeke all on the buys. I'm like, I don't have a damn running back to play, but
yeah,
I mean,
I can relate. Andy. I looked at my fantasy lineup this week. If Alan Lazard doesn't play, I'm in big trouble because I got to start Kadarius Toney. I think his first week back.
He's trending to
all
play.
bye weeks. All bye weeks. I looked at it. I'm like, what the hell is all this red? Oh, whole team's on a bye, so might just be eating a loss. I'm like 6-2. I can handle it if we have to.
See, I'm like 4-4. I'm like, I need to.
No, yeah. So you're in the crunch. You're in the crunch. All right.
I got no damn running backs.
All right. Last trade, win, lose, draw. Before we get into the 3-bagger, Jeff Wilson to the Dolphins for a 5th-round pick.
Makes no sense. Like, you just traded away Chase Edmonds, and then you're going to go and turn around and buy into a running back. I go loss. I guess I just say loss because like you got rid of a running back that you had, and you grabbed another running back for a 5th-round pick. I don't know a whole lot about Jeff Wilson. I know he's been out there in San Francisco and just kind of been, the backup. But my initial reaction is loss.
I do have a theory about this. I think it's a win-win for both teams, and I'll explain to you why. The Niners crowded running back room right now. CMC, Mitchell's getting ready to come back after the bye. They drafted Ty Davis-Price. They like this Jordan Mason kid. So, Jeff Wilson was probably going to be 3rd-string running back maybe at best with Mitchell healthy and CMC there. So to get a 5th-round pick for him, I think is pretty good for the Niners. But I will say I called this when the Bradley Chubb trade was announced, and they announced that they were getting rid of Chase Edmonds. Now Mostert's been kind of banged up, not healthy. I said, man, the Niners have a billion running backs. Mike McDaniel's from the 49ers. He knows these running backs. Like, this is a no-brainer. I immediately responded that to the person who sent me the trade. And sure enough, whatever it was, 20 minutes, half hour later, here comes Jeff Wilson for a 5th-round pick. So, yeah, that was a no-brainer. He knows his system. He's going to be able to contribute right away. I think that this is going to be a sneaky good pickup for the Dolphins. I think he's going to add some depth at that position, and I think he's going to do well there.
So what you're saying is I should go make a fantasy waiver wire pickup and stash Wilson on my bench.
I mean, who else is there? I mean, Mostert has just been so banged up. Like, I really think it could be a 50-50 split. Mostert's no spring chicken. I think Jeff Wilson could end up being the guy there. If you're in that desperate need of help, I think he's worth a stash.
I am in desperate need of a running back right now.
Get on and pick him up then. All right. This week's 3-bagger. Well, first, we're going to go into the 3-bagger review. Me and Joe, we had a rough week last week. I was 0-3.
Damn you sons of bitches. I finally bet the Bills.
No.
And the line, I did not realize, and I don't know if you guys, apparently the line moved real late. I got in at 10.
Oh, so you at least covered. We both lost at 10.5.
No, I take that back. I apologize. I got in at 10.5 with you guys.
And then it moved.
My buddy lives in Buffalo, bets all the time. Sent me his winning ticket. His winning ticket was at 9.5. Where he got 9.5 from, I don't know. But I was like, "Are you kidding me?" The line moved. Yes, I finally took your and Joe's advice, and it bit me in the ass yet again.
We each lose at least one game a week. This week was really bad. This is a bad week to take our advice. Joe was 1-2. I was 0-3. We both missed on the Bills. We both missed on the Bengals because they lost outright. Your Giants got smoked. That was one of my picks. That didn't pan out. Our only win was the Titans over the Texans. And then the lock of the week, that actually moved to 6-2. I'm nailing the Niners games this year. The only 2 I've missed was when I thought the Rams were still good and the monsoon game in Chicago. So apparently everyone should just be listening to me talk about the Niners because I'm pretty spot on.
Apparently I'm not that because the Giants screwed me too. I took a late boost bet of the entire NFC East to win. Everybody covered except the Giants. The Commanders snuck it out at the end, and then the Giants blew it for me.
You told me it was going to happen. You said.
Trust me. I know. I shouldn't have listened to. I should have taken my own advice.
So, anyway, we got Joe is now 14-9-1 on the season. I'm an even 500 at 12-12. Again, lock of the week moves to 6-2. So, first up, Andy, you've got Dolphins -5 over the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, Tua coming back, the Bears just got run over by a, off the injured reserve Dak Prescott. The Dolphins are clicking with Tua back. I think they cover this 5 points easily, even though it's in Chicago. Chicago's no good. I think this is an easy win. I mean, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are just putting up ridiculous numbers. I played against both of them. Who would have ever thought in a fantasy football league that you're going to play two of the same receivers on the same team? I got my ass absolutely annihilated. I'm like, come on now. You played Waddle and Hill, and I just got run over like a freight train. I think this is a fairly easy bet. The Dolphins cover this, no problem.
Yeah, kid I played last week had Hill and A.J. Brown. And I was just like, come on. Then luckily CMC came through for me and sealed the deal, but it was close. Andy, I'm going to agree with you. I think the Dolphins -5. I think it's an easy bet. I think the Bears are bad. Part of me is just angry at Justin Fields for not touching Micah Parsons down last week. So I hope that Tua throws for like 7,000 yards on him. I really do. I think the Dolphins are just going to mop the Bears up. For your second pick, yep, Vikings -3.5 over the Commanders.
I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the show, the Vikings are quietly 6-1. I mean, Kirk's playing at 1:00 in a dumb game and no one's going to see on TV except maybe if you live in the DC area. The Commanders are garbage. I mean, although, Heineke, I saw an interesting stat about him. When he starts and he plays over like 62% of the snaps, the Commanders are like 10-1, which is crazy to think. But the Vikings are too good for this to, I'm surprised the line's only 3.5. It was kind of a surprise. I don't know what Vegas is looking at, I guess, but I think this is another simple bet. The Vikings go in there and mop up on Washington.
Yeah, I like that pick. Oh, and just for the record, I did spell it Commanders because that's how Joe likes to spell it. And, we're just trying to be a tribute to Joe since he's not here. My next pick, I'm going to take the Jags +1.5 over the Josh McDaniel Raiders because they're bad. They're freaking bad. I think this Jags team can hang in there close enough at home to get a win against this squad. So we're going to go to your final pick. You have the Bucks -3 over the Rams.
Yeah, I went back and forth, and honestly, I was back and forth on that Jags Raiders pick for my third. I think Tom Brady is pissed that he's lost 3 straight games, and he is just going to go out there and prove that he's still Tom Brady and he can still play this game. And the Rams are garbage. We all know that. There's always the travel in the regular season of west to east coast or east to west coast, and they're going to come down there to Tampa. Brady's going to go out there and ball out, and I think he covers this no problem. They're going to run the football. The Rams are just garbage, and Brady's pissed. Brady's not going to lose 4 games in a row, and I think he's just going to go out there and destroy them. And it's going to be the old Tom Brady you're going to see for a week, and then we'll have to listen to the experts talk about, Tom Brady's back and the Bucks are in. No, it's one game, but he's pissed. He's going, he's getting divorced. He's losing his supermodel wife, and what else has he got to lose? He's going to go out there and play football.
Yeah, I looked at this game too, Andy. I was really close to picking it, but I also thought that this could be just a giant crap off that finishes like 2-0 to safety. It's the only points that are scored. Just an ugly game. Who knows? I don't know. For my final pick, I'm going to get burned one more time, and I'm going to take the Bills -12.5 at the Jets. I really think this Bills team, the Jets are kind of just they're not it. I think they've kind of lucked into their record. Zach Wilson does not look very good. I don't know what he's going to do when he plays this Bills defense. I just really think the Bills finally come out and put it on someone like they were at the first quarter of the season, kind of slowed down that second quarter. I think they're going to get back to it and really, really just hammer it down on them.
And I completely disagree with this pick. I looked at it and
right.
I thought to myself, man, and honestly, when I had first looked at it, I think the line was up to like 13, and I think it trended down. I trended down a little bit, but I think the Jets are better than anyone's giving them credit for, and maybe because I got burned on the Bills last week and I'm just bitter about it. That that's a big spread. I mean, the Eagles game tomorrow night's at like 14, I think last time I looked.
Ridiculous.
Like, that's a big spread. I mean, I think the Eagles can beat the crap out of the Texans, but I don't know. I think the Bills are. I think they're going to be in for a little bit of a surprise.
I like the Jets. I like the Jets defense,
game.
what they're doing. I just keep thinking like it seemed like every time the Jets played the Patriots last week, it seemed like every time a highlight showed up from that game, it was Zach Wilson just throwing an absolute horrid pick. And I was like, what are you going to do when you're facing some real pressure and you're going to have to throw? Because let's be real, the Bills are probably going to score some points on these guys.
The Bills are going to score points. I don't disagree. I don't know. I'm not betting this game. This is the one I'm staying away. I'm staying away from this one and probably the Eagles one because the large point spreads scare me.
I did read a thing. They say if anytime you see a big point spread like that, bet the under. It hits 60% of the time.
And I text you before. I mean, disclaimer, I don't think I've won a goddamn cent this year in betting. So don't anyone who's listening, don't listen to my picks. Like I can't win a damn thing. But
all right. Well, I don't have a lock of the week because the Niners are on the bye. So we're going to go over Joe's picks real quick, and that's going to be it for us.
Do his picks even matter? He's not here. He's drunk in the golf course somewhere at this point in his life.
He sent them in, so we're going to read them, and we can make fun of them together. Like this, the Titans 12.5 at the Chiefs. Maybe, but I just don't think the Titans are very good. Like I got a feeling Patrick Mahomes is going to run it up on them. Potentially, they keep it on the ground and keep it away from Mahomes. But if they don't do that, there's no way they're covering this.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, you're talking about the lock of the AFC South there. So
that is
bad pick.
It's just because the rest of the division is bad.
Not picking it, Joe. Sorry.
Joe's second pick, the Panthers plus 7.5 at the Bengals. Interesting one to me.
What is his love for the Panthers this year? I mean, he was so sold on Baker Mayfield, who's been absolute garbage. I mean, the Panthers traded away CMC. Who is their quarterback? I don't even know.
PJ Walker. But they've been competitive.
He was in like the XFL or something or arena football. Like, I don't know what his love for I think he secretly got a crush on the Panthers.
He definitely does. Like he has talked about how he's got to come on the show and apologize because the Panthers are so awful, and he thought they were going to like win the division. it's
I don't even know who's
going to be bad
that team since they fired Matt Rule. So
I have no idea. All I know is that I would hate this pick because I don't have a lot of faith in the Panthers, but I did just watch the Bengals play Monday night, and anything could happen. This could be an okay pick.
Yeah, if Jamar Chase was playing, I take this pick for the Bengals to cover. Jamar Chase not on the field after Monday night, no.
Yep, anything could happen. All right, last one before we go. Joe's got the Seahawks plus 2 at the Cardinals, which could be a really good pick because we are in the second half of the season. Call of Duty's out, so Kyler Murray is completely checked out for the season. I think they could cover this. I like this pick. Probably my favorite pick that he made this week.
I would agree with this pick. Yeah, I mean, Kingsbury, second half of the season, they're going to go 2-6 to finish the year because he just can't coach. And not a bad pick. I mean, Seahawks are on a roll. They're living high up there, and Cardinals just. Although D-Hop coming back
he's looked good.
Team. Yes, buddy of mine we were just texting today about fantasy trades, and I'm like, who would have thought that you picking up D-Hop in like the 15th round would have paid off? We all made fun of you, and now we apologize.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where if you could stash him for that long, hell of a pick. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Let me hold on. I got to get my sponsor list out and see if I can do this. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors: Swing Juice, Busch Light, Napoli's, Your Daily Local, JP Photography, Complete Roofing Systems, Mean Sales and Service, Jones Pest Control, Blue Line Auto, Me, Myself, and Rye podcast. And I think that's it. I think that's all of them. Andy, thanks for coming on, joining me. Next week, I'll let you come on with Joe, and then, I'll take a week off. Maybe I'll go to Myrtle Beach golfing.
Hey, fine with me. I think this might be a first for you and I. We actually agreed on things tonight.
We agree on a bunch more stuff than you think, Andy. Way more stuff than you think.
Maybe I need to turn my hate towards Joe and his Buffalo Bills and his stupid picks.
I'm right there with you. I like it. All right, sports fans, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.